Hi, I'm Lucy Craddock. I'm 20 years old and I am doing a data science degree apprenticeship with Airbus. I'm currently in my third year. I have another year to go before I finish. And I'm just going to quickly explain what data science is. Data science is a multidisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithms to extract knowledge and insight from structured and unstructured data. What does this mean? I think most of you are familiar with this page. It's called Social Blade. And the information that you see here has been extracted from YouTube's website. The data has been collected, it's been processed. We can assume that they've used a lot of AI models to predict the kind of grades and calculations you see up here. And this is the work of a data scientist. So instead of YouTubers, I work with planes for Airbus. And I study at the University of Exeter. I study a Bachelor of Science in Digital and Technology Solutions, and I specialize in data analysis since I'm a data scientist. So the University of Exeter looks pretty nice from here. This is their campus, but in reality, it looks like this for me because I access all my resources online. I do video calls. I don't travel from Bristol to Exeter every day. I do it once a week online, and that's my university commitments. And then I work for Airbus Central Research and Technology Department. Central is important because not only does Airbus make commercial aircraft, we also make military aircraft, and we have two other divisions, which is helicopters and defense and space. And as a researcher in this department, we work on a product-to-product basis to deliver products and services that would be implemented 20 to 30 years down the line in Airbus's generations. So how did I get here? To be perfectly honest, the idea of coming to you guys and telling you about how amazing my apprenticeship is was completely out of the left field for me. I actually had one of these talks when I was at school. It was just someone from KPMG about their business apprenticeship. And I was like, great, now I can do a business apprenticeship. And to put it in perspective, I went to an all-girls grammar school. I think some of you might recognize the school uniform here. And I went there for sixth form. And the kind of culture in the school was all about university, and not just getting into university, but a Russell group. So every week we would have a lesson where we would just do our UCAS applications over and over again. I wrote my personal statement like 6 times, and it was all about getting into university. And I was deeply depressed. I was really, really sad in sixth form. I had gone from like my GCSEs, and I was really excited to take computer science at sixth form, but I had to go to the all-boys school down the road, and I was really struggling to learn the stuff that I in the class. So I'd have to take all of the time in class, do outside of school, which meant that I was putting like all my other subjects were suffering. And my dad works in tech, and I'd go home and I'd ask him for help with my computer science studies, and he'd be like, I don't know why you're learning this stuff, like it's not really used anymore. And to realize that the kind of content that I was learning, I was putting like 2 to 3 times the time and effort into a subject that wasn't really relevant for my career. It was something that I actually wanted to do in the future, and it wasn't teaching me the stuff that I wanted to do. But there was always this piece of data that I found, which was employment rate. What is the actual data of people who are working in a professional job in the tertiary sector for the industry that they have chosen for their degree? But what I could find was these kind of articles. Don't major in computer science if you want to succeed in tech. UK computer science graduates have the lowest employment rate among graduates. And why are there so many unemployed if we have such a big skill gap in technology in the UK? It was shocking at first because I thought, computer science was a stable job. When the robots come, I'll still have a job. And it wasn't art, it was an actual industry in all companies that needed. So I was kind of shocked, but the more that I read, the more that I understood. Because if my A-level was old, irrelevant, unnecessary, why did I think that university would be any different? And I'll be perfectly honest, I kind of sat there and I was like, I'm a good student. I mean, not really my grades, but I worked hard and I was passionate about computer science. And I was like, I'm not going to be one of those percentages. I'm going to do well after my degree and I'm going to work hard and I won't have to struggle about this because I know that I went to a grammar school, I know I can do well. And I had to remember something that I'd put down for so long, that I tried to hide for so long, was that I was different from the people here. The people around me didn't expect to pay more than £400 a year for their university loans. I wanted to be a technical director. I wanted to own my own company. I wanted to be a CTO. I wanted to be like the boss, which meant a high salary, which meant that this 3.1% interest that I was told not to worry about would cost me about 15 grand. The degree alone was 60 grand plus 15 in interest. And I went home that day and I withdrew my UCAS application. I lost my 20 quid. My mum was so angry at me. She was like, I can't believe you just did that. And I withdrew and I was like, I am not going to university. I'm getting a job and I'm not going to be locked into 35 years paying interest to banks because of a decision I made at 18. So I started applying for apprenticeships. I didn't want to get a job in IT and kind of bounce around, trying to struggle to find where I needed to be. I wanted clear career progression. So I started applying for IT apprenticeships. And as it turns out, there are a lot out there. And I applied to as many as I could, where companies, and my school especially, saw me as someone who was difficult, someone who was opinionated, dogmatic. Airbus saw me as someone who was ambitious, assertive, and a free thinker, and they wanted to work with me. So where am I now? I'm happy. I'm much happier than I was at sixth form. Sorry, guys. I'm working every day, and it's great. I'm improving upon myself. I'm doing this on-the-edge research. The kind of stuff that I'm working on hasn't even been documented yet, and that's so exciting. So the people that you see here, they have 10 to 20 years experience. They have PhDs. They've come out of university, come out of the teaching the lectures, doing all the research for universities. Now I'm coming into the industry, and I'm able to tap into that knowledge. I'm able to sit there, look at my university content, and get guidance from them. They've able to push me towards what things are most necessary for the industry. I have opportunities to work abroad, and I have a pension, and I'm not in debt. So my advice to you guys is to do your research. If you're considering a computer science degree and you didn't know the information I just gave you, I would strongly suggest that you do more research about the industry that you've chosen. And my next piece of advice is don't be afraid to be different. The kind of girl that sat there and kind of called out the UCAS guest, argued with her teachers, kind of sat there and looked at the curriculum and thought this wasn't good enough. That was the kind of person that put me where I am today. Applying for apprenticeships is the hardest thing I ever did, but it was the best decision I ever made.